Hello and welcome to this lecture where we'll finally come into Docker containers and Docker images. Here we'll go into the theory of it so you will understand why it's useful and hopefully get the motivation of learning Docker. So without further ado, I will go into the keynote. So here I am in the keynote, isolating environments using Docker containers for quick development, testing, and shipping. This sounds really good. Let's see what this means. We have three people in this team, and we could have several more in the team, but you will get the idea with 3 people. So we need to install different software packages on different computers. We have, for example, Matplotlib 3.5.3. We have Postgres 14.7. We have 3.11 in Python, and we have Kafka 3.7.0. We have real data that is 0.52.8. It doesn't work on my M3. That could happen when you have different computers. It might work in one machine, it doesn't work on another one. Crap, I have several versions of Python. Yes, if you have several versions of it, there might be a problem when you're installing this, and you may have some package that depends on that one, right? And also you could have packages that don't match in versions, and it might become an error, or something has changed in different versions. So you need to isolate the environment. You want the development environment to be the same as the one that you use for production later on, right? You don't want a production environment that doesn't work. You want everyone in your team to be able to work with the same environments. So in order to do this, what if there was an environment that works for everyone and it will work in production as well? Okay, so imagine you have your computer here. This is the host system. Inside this, you have Matplotlib, one version, and you have Python, another version, and you have Postgres, another version, right? Now you have some isolated environment. This is the Docker container. Inside the Docker container, you could have your development environment set up. So you have set up this with these versions. So this is isolated environment that has all dependencies and software for an application. Let's say that this application requires exactly these softwares and these packages. So installations in the host system, it doesn't affect the inside of the container. It's an isolated environment. Even if you have Python 3.9 in your host system and 3.11 in your Docker container, it doesn't matter. When you're working with the Docker container and you're shipping this, it's 3.11 because that is the one that is installed inside the Docker container. This is really useful because if you have tried it out and it works on the Docker container, you can share it with a friend and it will work with that one's computer as well. You could deploy it into a virtual machine, it will work there. You could deploy it in a container service and it will work there as well. So this is super cool. So how do we do this? Well, we need to create an image to spin up the Docker container. You define a Docker file. And from its instructions, build an image. Here you have written from Python 3.11, then copy ... a lot of other instructions. So there's a lot of several instructions that you put into the Docker file. And from the Docker file, you can build something called a Docker image. It's a read-only template to create containers. You can see it as a class. From this class, you can instantiate a lot of objects. From this image, you can spin up a lot of containers. All of these Docker containers are the same. They have the instructions from the Docker image, right? So these are the running instance of Docker image. So from a Docker image, you can spin up several containers. You can give it to someone and spin up a container, right? And the containers are the same unless you have modified them. So you can share your Docker images to your friends so that they can spin up containers. So one Docker image to you, one for you, even one for you, Mr. Clip. Yes, you can share it to everyone. So they can now spin up Docker containers with the same isolated environment as you have. You could put it into a cloud service and spin that up, and it will work there as well, similar to as it would work for you. Yes, and with this I would like to thank you for watching this video on introduction to Docker containers. See you in the next video where we'll go more into spinning up multiple containers. Thank you. Bye.